Hi friends, we are back with another how-to tutorial. Today we will be learning how to draw Courage the Cowardly Dog. This was one of my favorite cartoons as a kid and I still love him. I don't know if I love him as much as Scooby-Doo, but he's up there, aside from my own dog. Alright, so as always I have my pencil and my paper. And we are going to start with the eyes. So remember, I always take my index finger, I find the middle of my paper, and I'm going to put a dot. You guys know the drill. So Courage, since he is a cartoon character, he has very oval eyes. And his eyes are pretty big, but he has small pupils. So he has that small black dot. So first, let's start with the eyes. So I'm going to draw a big oval shape. And then I will show you guys. If you feel pretty confident that you know a big oval shape, then go ahead and start on your own. Alright, so I drew a big oval shape. So generally when I draw, I do it pretty light. And like I've said before, I go over it and darken it and erase lines. So if mine looks a little scribbly, that's why. Alright, so I have one oval shape, so I'm going to do it on the other side, and his eyes are actually pretty close together, so you don't have to use the one index finger rule between them. It has a very thin space between it. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to draw the same kind of oval shape right alongside it. And his eyes are about the same size. So here's what it looks like. They're pretty close together. So make sure you have that. And Courage is a worrier. He worries a lot. He does not know how to use his toolkit. So he has a lot of lines under his eyes, or kind of like deep lines. So we're going to draw them coming off the bottom of his eyes. So it's going to look like this. He's got two dark lines. Alright, so once we have those, we are going to put in his pupils. So those are also oval shapes. So we're just going to draw two small ovals in his eye. Two small ovals. And he has a fancy thing called a highlight. Alright, so those are the two small pupils. And then we're going to put two small circles in those. So those are called highlights. A lot of cartoon characters have them. A lot of anime characters have them. So what we're going to do is those small circles, we're going to leave those white, but we're going to color black all around it. So I'm going to do mine quickly since I'm showing you, but you guys can take your time. And if I ever go too fast, remember you can always pause the video, you can always rewind it. Alright, so that's about what it's gonna look like. See how it looks dark and there's a little white highlight? That's what we're going for. So I'm gonna fill in my next one. So if you haven't seen Courage the Cowardly Dog, it's about a dog who lives in the middle of nowhere. The town is actually called Nowhere, and it is in the middle of nowhere. And he's pretty much saving his owners all the time from scary monsters or creatures, but he's actually very scared himself. So that's why he's called Courage the Cowardly Dog. Alright, so we have those colored in. So next we are going to go for his eyebrows. He has unique eyebrows and they cut in onto his actual eyeballs. So we will have to erase part of the top of our eyes. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So his eyebrows will come down like this. So see how it overlaps the top of the eyes? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase the top of his eye right there. So you guys do the same. Alright, so you see what I mean? Now it looks like he's really making that like frowny kind of scared face. And we're going to thicken up his eyebrows. And we've done this in other videos before, so you just make a point at the bottom, you follow it up, and connect. Remember, make a point at the bottom, follow it up, connect. We're going to do that on the other side as well. And when we're done with that, we are going to color them in black. So, also another fun fact about Courage, if you have not seen it, Courage is actually pink. He's a pink dog. I wish my dog was pink, but he is not. But I still love him anyways. Alright, so we are coloring in those eyebrows. Perfect. So we should have something like this. So, Courage has a pretty big nose. He has a big snout. So we're going to start with that. So from the eyes, we're going to drop down just a little bit. So you could take your finger and you could drop it down just a little bit. And we're going to draw a straight line there. So just like that. So I drop down a little bit, just like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a point underneath and I'm going to connect it. So I'm pretty much making an upside down triangle, sort of. So we put that point down there so that way his nose is the same on both sides. Remember, we're trying to go for symmetrical. We don't want one side lopsided, one side to be perfect. So I'm going to connect it, but I'm going to try to round it out just a little bit. So it's not quite the perfect triangle. Let's see how it's kind of rounded. And on the inside of his nose, Courage has, it's kind of like another highlight. So it's like a big Z. So below that, we're going to color it in black. So that bottom part is going to be colored in black. But we're not going to do it just yet because Courage's hands are going to come up over his nose. Like he's going to have that scared, kind of shocked expression. So we'll leave that just how it is. So now we're going to move on to finishing his head and his face. So I'm going to start with, we're going to connect between his eyes. We're going to give him the top of his head. So I don't want to make it too pointed because then it'll look like he has a dome head. So we'll just make it like that. So we just want to do like a little slope between his eyes. We'll connect it. Alright, so once we have that, we're going to move on to his snout. So coming off from the sides of his nose are going to give him his little cheeks. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So we will come down and we'll do it on one side and then we'll do it on the other, remember, because we want it to look the same. So you're going to follow that line, so pretend it goes right behind that eye and it's going to come out. And we're going to do it on the other side as well. So we're going to follow the line where it would feel like it would come out on the other side of that eye. And we're going to follow it until a little bit above his nose. Alright, so see how I have it like that on both sides? Now we're going to draw these two loops for his cheek. Alright, so we'll do, it is going to be kind of a big loop, like so. So there's one on one side, and then we're going to have another right on the other side. And it's kind of like if you watch the Daffy Duck tutorial, it kind of does the same thing, like that, like long stretched out W. So we'll do the same thing. Alright, so, and we want to try to make it symmetrical again. Alright, so once we have that, that's kind of the look we're going for. So we're going to give him some whiskers next, because dogs and cats have whiskers on their cheeks. So we're going to give him 3 circles on each cheek, like this. And then we're going to bring out some whiskers. So the whiskers could pretty much go from about anywhere. It doesn't matter. I just put mine like that, so you guys can have yours any way you want. So now that we have that, we're going to do his body. And it's not going to be his full body, it's just going to be just part of it. And if you've seen Courage, he kind of has like a jelly bean shaped body. So there's part of it, the bottom. And we're going to move on to his ears, and then we'll do his hands last. So his ears are pretty cool. They're going to come right off his eyebrows. So you'll draw a line off of each eyebrow. And then we will curve it out on one side. So see, I drew a line off that, curved it, and then you will make a little loop on the end. So a little loop on the end. And then we're just gonna bring that all the way up and connect it. So all the way up and connect it. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side, but one ear is actually longer than the other. So he has a pretty short ear on the left side of his head. So this one we will curve it and kind of do the same thing, round it out, bring it in. So it's just like that. So curve it and then bring it in, right on the other eyebrow. So now that we have the ears and his snout and everything, we can move on to his hands. So he actually only has 3 fingers, and they just look like little clovers. So instead of a 4-leaf clover, it'd just be a 3-leaf clover. So, and they're right on his nose. So you're just gonna draw this. And then we're gonna draw it twice because he has 2 hands. And they're just gonna be on each side of his nose. So just like that. And it's going to be him reaching up. So he has little skinny arms. So it'll look like this. Perfect. So in the arms, you can erase the bits of the nose that show and the bits of his snout. So that way it looks like his arms are really going over those areas. Alright, so to color him, what you'll want to do is his nose, that part will be black, and on the highlight, here look, I'll color that part black with you guys. But the highlight is going to be brown instead of white. If you don't have brown, you can leave it white, so that way it looks like his nose is shiny. And you can color him in using crayon, colored pencil. You can even paint him, whatever you have. I like to use colored pencil, but then sometimes my my arm gets tired of coloring in all the tiny spaces. Or if you don't have any of those things, you can use your pencil and shade them in. So that's what I do sometimes too. Alright, so that's what I was talking about. So see that little part that's left? That part would be brown, or you could shade it in, and his ears will be brown and he will be pink. So he will look something like this. So there you have it. There is how to draw Courage, the Cowardly Dog. See you guys next time.